why would you run this? This is, you know, it's a must-have to change handlebars and grips, you know? Get rid of the stock stuff. It's just about trash.
Right.
One of the first things I removed would be the start and stop switch. And it's basically somewhere like this on the handlebars. And so when I removed it, you can see that it has a little knob, little locator. For the last couple decades, we've just been cutting those off. It's pretty simple, you know. There's no huge function to it, like so. You might want to shave it a little bit closer to the bars so everything does bolt well together, but all it does is keep you from rotating on the bars. Well, a lot of us have our own preference on where we want the stop or where we want our lanyard to be, and so you have a little bit more control by removing that little nub there. Your controls are pretty easy. Screwdriver or a little Allen key. This is a 4mm that removed from this throttle. So again, throttle has a little locator on it. It's right there, right? Again, it's to keep the throttle from kind of spinning on the bars. Well, it just sort of stops you from setting your own preference. And again, we just come in, it's pretty simple. We'll snip that off. Maybe sand it down a little bit so it's nice and flush with the shape of the handlebar. And away you go. So we're gonna remove this cover right here. This is kind of like a crossbar cover, if you will. So we're gonna remove it. It's pretty simple. Most watercraft don't have this, but on the super jets, they tend to come with these. So it's just a Phillips screwdriver, twist it out, pull it off. So I've removed the screws. We're gonna take this bar pad off, and now we can get to the clamps to remove the handlebars. Okay, getting ready to remove the bar clamps with your 12mm socket. It's generally is a 12, depending on if the ski is brand new or not, but from Yamaha, it's a 12mm. I think the Kawasaki's 12mm also. Ooh, again, rookie at the wheel. It's easy as that. I like it. So we have our ADA extended handlebars. This is kind of one of our favorites. You know, the quality and comfort of these handlebars are pretty awesome. They are, you know, there's two options. There's straight and there's 4-degree, and that's kind of the bend in the handlebars here. And straight would be like so. And this basically is more of the aggressive riding style when you want to get over the handlebars a little bit more. The 4-degree is a little more of a comfort ride. I prefer more of a straight bar for myself. Extended would be like how far your hands are away. Now, if you feel like your shoulders are getting pulled on and you want to move your hands in a little bit more to get comfort, you do have the option to go a little bit narrower on these handlebars. And so we really like this brand. This is what we suggest. Okay, to install these handlebars, it has a crossbar pad. So in order to install it with the bar clamps, we like to remove one of these bolts here. And there's lots of ways of doing it. This is the way we suggest it. So once you remove this bolt, like so. Now this tilts off and this bar pad comes off, right? So this is the easiest way to reinstall it once you do have it on the turn plate. So at this point we have the bars free. I'm going to reinstall the bar clamps. Again, Loctite is always recommended. So we're gonna, unless you ride in salt water, I guess then I would say grease, right? Grease is necessary. It looks like they're directional, so there is a front and a rear. That's interesting. So good to know. Look at that. So FYI on the Superjet, one is a little bit deeper than the other. So the deeper side is going to go at the front. And then obviously when you do tighten down on the rear, it's going to go in as well. So you may have to adjust the bars a little bit back and forth to find that sweet spot. Okay. So one thing about handlebars is obviously you want to make sure that, you know, there's a little bit of room left and right. You got probably a ½ inch. There is a sweet spot, and a lot of times I'll measure from the end of the bar to the bar clamp to make sure I have the even distance. So when I do tighten it down, that they aren't off one side or the other. I'm gonna see if I'm in the ballpark here. All right, 285. Ooh, really close. So definitely suggest tightening down the front ones first. It's kind of designed this way. So you kind of get these down. And then to actually tighten them, you'll tighten down the rears there. I always like to double check my measurements before I get too serious. So one more time. Looking good. I like it. I'm right there. Okay. Now, reinstalling the bar pad. You also can get a Pro Watercraft bar pad if you want. You can find it on our website. Slide that bad boy back on, and definitely makes things a lot easier when you can kind of just muscle the bar pad back in, line up that hole. Takes a little bit of finessing and pushing one to get the other to go in. You obviously don't want to cross thread. Feels good. It's really that simple. Already looks way better. So here's the grips that we like installing. Basically, these are bolt-on grips instead of other grips that glue on. So it makes it a lot easier when you just want to install it and go ride. We also offer a grip tool. So we're gonna install these now. So when you get these grips, a lot of times at these little billet ends, they're super nice billet ends, but they just don't, oh, that one did. But this one didn't, you know? So a lot of times though, you'll have to get a screwdriver and just kind of wedge it in there. And it helps you kind of pop them on and off to adjust them. I always line them both up on the same side. And then these little bolts that they send, I mean, the quality and craftsmanship here is really nice, but the tool is always the hardest one to find. And we offer this at Pro Watercraft, so you can get them with your grips. And then you can twist in the hardware. And it's a, you know, it makes it a lot easier so you're not struggling with install. Okay, we want to talk about, like, you gotta love these grips, right? Because boom, right there, you get your tool, you tighten it down. There's no messy glue to get all over your brand new jet ski. You just kind of snug up one, you go to the other. Gotta tell you, it's never been easier putting on grips. Thank you, ODI. Look at that. Doesn't work one way, do it the other. you want to be careful tightening this down. This bolt actually is going into a little bit of plastic here, right? It's not an aluminum throttle like you can buy at Pro Watercraft. Honestly, this thing looks a little too clunky for me. I'm probably going to take it off and get a really cool throttle at prowatercraftracing.com. Bolt it on. I don't have to worry about anything coming loose or anything weird with that. But for now, we're just going to show you the stock throttle. So on the start and stop here, you can see that I cut a little bit of this nub off, but there's still a little bit left, right? And so on this ski in particular, it's going to be in the way of like tightening it down, and it will affect the fit and finish of the top coming to the bottom. So you'll want to kind of sand that down or razor blade it. Whatever you do, don't cut your finger wide open before you go jet ski. On this ski particularly, it has this little nub, right? And I've cut some of it off with my flush cuts, but it really does need to be cut down or sanded down all the way so the fit and finish is quite good for this Yamaha start and stop switch. So that's pretty much it. You're just gonna tighten down your controls, and it's pretty simple. I keep saying that, but it really is. You know, once you do it once, you're doing it for your buddies afterwards. So after you do your first ride and you kind of feel a little discomfort, or you want to adjust something or try, the great things about these grips is, you know, you do have some adjustment here. You can pop off the end cap and you can move them in. You can actually ride it like this too, kind of bring them in and ride it and kind of feel. When you are wanting to cut the end, you know, there's a few different ways to do it, you know, as simple as a hacksaw or maybe a cutoff wheel. This is an aluminum bar, so it is fairly easy to cut. Just be careful you don't damage anything on your watercraft. But adjustment wise, you know, again, on the controls, you can move it up or down. You know, this is your lanyard here, so if you don't want it where your chest could be hitting it, you can turn it up. So keep your chest away from popping out your lanyard. Also with your throttle, if you're a guy that likes it up, you can adjust it up. If you want it more down, you have all those adjustments. That little duct tape on there will help you kind of grab the bar again. So these are just great little tips to kind of find what works for you on your watercraft. Here we are. You know, why would you run this? This is, you know, it's a must-have to change handlebars and grips. You know, get rid of the stock stuff. It's just about trash. You can get all this and more at prowatercraftracing.com.